Loud and clear. I'm getting the good feedback now. Okay, excellent. All right. So, thanks, guys. Thanks, Michelle, Kristen. Okay, all good. Um, just give me one quick second here. Just pause this for 1 minute. Okay. All right, I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we're going to talk about, whoa, look out, infinite loop of death. Okay, so I am now, let's just make sure everything's good. And excellent. So we're going to be talking about what the teachers do on Hubly. Like obviously, generally speaking, teachers don't have to go into the dashboard and manage the things that the school office admin have to manage, but they've got um, there's a lot of things they should be doing inside Hubly to essentially make their lives easier, and make the lives of the office staff easy too. Um, and there's a lot of great features to do that. So that's really going to be centered around the groups. So if you're a teacher, generally speaking, these groups are for classes. Um, that's the majority of the groups that are on Hubly. So if I'm a teacher, what are the things I'm going to be doing? So I would say that for sure, without a doubt, the things that teachers most and the used most on Hubly more than anything is the group post, because it's just really easy to go in here and send an update to everybody. Just as an example, like, hi everyone. Um, sorry to inform you that um, Fuzzy Mouse away today, and we're going to have a funeral for him tomorrow. Sad, but that stuff happens sometimes in classes. And and if you want, you can even add a picture. I don't think I have a mouse picture. You can upload a picture and add it in there. But I can always just put a picture of cute children like mine, and that post goes out to all the parents. And parents are sad but happy that they get to look at cute pictures. Um, so it's this is it. This is probably the one of the most used things by teachers. So what else can they do in here though? There's a lot of cool things that teachers can do inside groups. We've got something called group docs. Group docs are a great way to also send communications out to parents. You can go in here for your teacher and you can create a doc. You could title the doc like, it could be homework this week, right? And down below, this is like what we call a WYSIWYG, WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, and this is like anything you do on Microsoft Word, Google Docs. So things to do for homework, and you can make it look nice and pretty. Really easy, some quick formatting options, and like thing one, thing two, three. And if you notice, there's a lot of spacing in here. So actually, if you want things to be single spaced, you can actually just or you can even, there's a little trick here. Let's say you want this to be right underneath. Hold shift and hit enter. It just makes a single space there. Something to keep in mind. You can do some other simple formatting too, give it some bullets. So, and you can also attach documents to this too. You can even attach a PDF document. Let's say there's some homework or some lessons or something that that you want the parents to go over with the child. This is a great way to describe something to do with the children and attach a document to it. So I'll go into my documents here and I'll pick something that what do I have in here that is not going to be weird? No, it's kind of, I should have probably organized this before. But oh, here's an assignment: chickens in the city. So let's just say you guys are learning about, chickens living in the city for some reason. Who knows? Lots of cool lessons that kids get to learn. So now that document's attached, and down below, really, I mean, you can actually initiate this even with a different group if you wanted to. But you've got, access settings like who can read this doc, who can edit the doc, who can read comments, post comments. So you've got some controls here. But if you want to say, members who can read it, or just, any logged in user, or admins and moderators, right? Or only, it could be just the doc author. This could be only for you. This could actually be, as a teacher, a really place to centralize notes for yourself, for your class, lesson plans or anything like that. It's a great way to organize your documents. So you can have folders. You can create folders as well. You can add tags. So if you want to, and you can even have like a parent doc where, so there's a hierarchy of your document. So a lot of different organization, not so you don't have to use paper, you don't have to be carrying binders around, and it's a nice centralized place to keep things in the context of that class or that age level or that group, whatever it may be. So we're giving you this feature so that you don't have to go out and use paper or Microsoft, Office files, or use different online document editors. Once you've got Hubly, you really have everything you need in that sense. And what's also great is if I save this, so that gets shared inside the group. So here's the document. I can edit it, and I attach more things. Keep going, editing it and updating it. If we go back to the so everybody can get notified. So Pat Kennefic. So I'm logged in as Pat, everybody. So this is me, Pat Kennefic. So created a doc home this week. Oh, homework. I missed a word. So I expect all you guys to inform me when I make silly mistakes. So there's a link to this, but also here, I'll just open up my mail as a member of the group. Just give me a second. So we've got a message that went out to the parents from Pat Kennefic, the teacher, right, of that. She, sent it to me. Says Pat Kennefic posted a new document in the group, class 104, and here's the actual content of the document. So all of the content's right there. So nobody actually even has to click on it, but there's a link also to it, so they can click on the link and go to that document too. So that's really handy. And so that's something that like teachers can get a lot of use out of. I mean, basically anything that a teacher or a staff member can do with paper, you can do with our docs, with our Hubly docs, and it can be nicely centralized. And as a school administrator, all that stuff is organized for you. You have access to everything, so you can really, if you have some standardization, which I really, really hope you guys do with your teachers and how they, how they organize anything. If everyone's following the same processes and protocols, then it makes it super easy for you as an administrator to go in to any group, see, what's going on, and without having to even, bother the teacher to have them send it to you, because it's there. You have access to it as the admin. So you always have access into all this with your admin permissions. So another great thing about the groups, of course, is the group events. This is something that, if the teacher is set as the admin, they don't have to come to you to make an event and have you assign it to a group. They can just come in here and create an event for this group. This is something that teachers, we see from school to school. It's always different. Sometimes it's always managed centrally from the office, or sometimes that, per room or per age level or whatever it is, the calendar management for that class is delegated to the teacher. And a lot of times that makes sense. So this could be, an event for, a field trip. So let's, we'll just keep this simple, field trip. And you can add, if you want, again, you can use the same type of formatting features, make it look jazzy. Wait, there we go. And I'll give it some color, spice it up a little bit. I'm gonna add a picture to this field trip. Let's see what's in here in the media folder. We're gonna go. Let's see. We're gonna go to watch Leora Landon play a guitar concert, because you don't get much cuter than that. So here's a field trip to go visit Leora as she plays guitar for your class, and it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody. So I'm just going to play with that a little bit, so you can make this really, really nice and and engaging. You can, of course, all sorts of events, or you can make an event for anything. I'm just going to set the event date for the 14th. And I'm also going to select this is, so here, depending on what groups you're an admin of, you can actually select multiple groups. If this is a multi-class or multi-age level event, and you are, either you're the school admin or you're a teacher and you're the admin of those different groups, you can actually assign this event to multiple groups. So it doesn't have to be done repetitively. And then I'll just go ahead and, I'll publish this. And so now that event in that group, so we'll go back to that group. So essentially, what teachers are doing so here's that event. If I click on it, right? So the parents are just going to see, when the parents go to the school calendar, again, they're just going to see the events that pertain to their groups. You can have this set as a, as an RSVP, or just, that can be turned off. Let's just see if that notification came through as well. I'm just checking my email here. So you'll get a notification as well about the group event, just like the group document. And I'm gonna jump back to the group. So that's something, and they might be posting, a teacher might be adding, any tests or, observations or anything like that to their particular calendar. So that's a very common uh, use case for teachers. Of course, newsletters right here within the group. So again, I'm the teacher. This is my one class that I teach, but I want to send a newsletter out to all the parents in my class. Maybe I'll do a weekly newsletter every Friday. So, here's our newsletter designer. Of course, you can select any theme you want to start from. So let's say, we went on that field trip and it was a lot of fun. And now I want to create a newsletter. And amongst other things, I'll talk about that field trip. I'm actually going to get rid of that background image. And I'll change the colors a little bit, make this my own. Call this class 104 Hey guys, I just realized that I have been offline for a little while. Sorry about that, guys. We lost internet. I probably went on for quite some time talking about a whole bunch of features. I wonder what if you guys could just send me a message. What did you last see when I got kicked offline here? And I'll pick up from there. Oh, okay. So, Sue, group docs was the last thing you saw. Michelle, you say frequency of newsletters. So, okay, let's see here. Uh, those are two very different answers. So, okay, I was designing the newsletter. Okay, so I'm gonna head back to the newsletters here. Yeah. So one thing I think it's really important to keep in mind is that, ooh, sorry, got to get off that screen. Is that newsletters you wanna not you want to send them out basically weekly, and you can schedule them. So if again, I'm not going to create another newsletter and design it for you guys just for time's sake. But if we go in to create a newsletter, there is this really great feature, Send Later, which allows you to schedule a newsletter to go out. You can actually write a whole month's worth of newsletter. I mean, that probably wouldn't make sense, but you can write newsletters to go out at any date and time that you want. So, and then after you schedule it, you can then go back and edit it. So at least you know for sure you've got a nice looking newsletter that's going to go out to the parents, and it's gonna go out at a specific time. And then what's great too is that if you're a parent in this group, you can come in here and you can actually see the history of the newsletters that have gone out maybe every week, and then you can view them as well. So the parents can always come here and click view and open up a newsletter that was sent out, a previous time. This is just a default. Nothing was in here. Maybe there's one that's a little more. Uh, nope. Just to give you an idea. There we go. So here's a newsletter that. Hey, here's a newsletter that was sent out. Let's see here. Yeah. So sorry, internet's still a little funky here. So so this is this is something that teachers can do. It can take off the hands. You can delegate that to your teachers instead of doing everything from the office. Really simple, newsletter feature so that you can be again sending 100% relevant information to your parents on a regular consistent time. That's really, really, really important. You want to have these things standardized. You want to have these things happening at a regular time so that the parents know what and when to expect things, and that keeps them the most informed. If it's kept to be 100% relevant to the parent, that will keep them engaged, and that means much less chasing around of information to parents, for you guys, for teachers or school admin. So also media. So media is something that obviously parents love to see pictures of their kids. I know I love staring at pictures of mine. But take the kids off on field trips and take some pictures, create some albums, share some documents. All that stuff can be managed right here inside this each specific group. So you can create an album. This just call it class 104 field trips 104 field trips. Maybe you just got an album for field trips. So you can always just create an album and keep on putting pictures into those albums for easy, media organization that is easy for parents to access. And then, okay, so what else do parents, um, what else do teachers do? So teachers generally are either in their group communicating out to parents, or they're filling out forms. So, so you can actually assign forms to be group specific. So if you click on forms here, so if there's forms that, you know, that every teacher has to fill out, you can either decide to assign that to a staff group so that they just know, go to the staff group, see the forms, or if it's a form for, say, there's a field trip form that's only for this one class, you can assign that form here to this group, and then the parents can fill that. So again, that's for parents, but what do teachers have to fill out? So they have to fill out accident reports and attendance forms, and they have to do grades, and there's what don't you guys have to do paperwork for, right? That's the other main thing. And anything that's in here inside the group under the forms tab also shows up on the main forms page inside Hubly. Every Hubly site has a forms page where all forms are here, and this also filters away forms that are assigned to specific groups that you don't need to see. So if I'm a teacher and I'm in the staff group and there's a form that teachers have to fill out and it's been connected to the staff group, only I'm going to see it. But if a parent comes to this page, they're not going to see it because obviously parents are not going to be in your staff group. So it filters away the view of that form. But this is the other thing that basically filling out paperwork. So we want to make the paperwork as easy as possible. And it could be attendance, or it could be even a daily diapering, toileting log. This is something that obviously the earlier ages you have to document. So it could be something like you pick the child, the date, and just so you know, anytime a form is submitted, it's automatically date and time stamped. So there's no need to have a date field necessarily, but sometimes for some forms, you might want to actually have a date field so you can actually say, oh, well, actually, I forgot to document this yesterday, so you can actually specify this is for the day before. So that's something you could always do. You could always go in and update that afterwards. So if you want to set, I don't know what, every district or, province or state has different regulations on what you need to document. So, you might have different selections, pre-select options for what the toileting experience was. Bowel movement on toilet. I know that if my daughter Leora did that, we would all be jumping around for joy, just trying to get that one figured out. And so certainly, as a parent, I would love to know if she was at daycare or preschool and she had a poo-poo on the toilet. Well, I'd love to know that right away. So upon submitting this as an example, the teacher is now the thing could be set up so this form automatically goes to the parent as a notification. That'd be amazing, right? So the teacher comes here and fills out this diapering or toileting log for this child, and it gets sent out to the parent automatically. And if that happened for me and I was sitting here at my office doing a webcast to my customers and I got a ping on my email or my phone that showed me, I wouldn't suggest this, but if you wanted to, you could even have a picture feature here that takes a picture of it, but that would be a little weird. But just hey, I would be informed immediately upon the teacher submitting this documentation that Leora had a poo on the toilet, and I never thought I'd be so excited about hearing something like that. But if I was to get that today, I'd be pretty happy. So so this is the type of information parents want. Obviously, this type of information teachers are it's one of 1,000 things teachers have to communicate to parents, and this makes it really, really easy. All they have to do is fill out what happened, and the parents can get an automatic message. It obviously will show up on the student's page. So this is another place that the teachers are going to go. So if I'm Leora's teacher and I want to see all the documentations I've done for Leora, I'll come over here, and as we can see, here are her teachers and connected parents, and here's all the different documentations that have happened. Here's that diapering log I just did. Shows up diaper right here, right? So now as a parent, I could come here and I could preview this, and I could print this off if I needed to. But also, let's say I'm the teacher and I needed to actually update this, like, actually, it wasn't a bowel movement. She just peed on the toilet. Maybe that's actually what happened, and I could update that. So this is something that a teacher is going to do also. All this stuff is configurable, meaning if there's any particular form that you don't want to show up here on the student page, you can actually change the permission settings so that parents can't see this form. But by default, they can see anything that's submitted for a child here on this page. But as a teacher, this is where I can go to make sure that my documentations have been done, have been shared with the parents, are showing up here. And if I need to make any updates, I just come here to the student and I can edit any of the entries that I submitted as that teacher. So this is like, I know that I've walked into daycares, like we're here in Toronto, right? So I've walked into daycares. Oh, you know what? I should actually take a breather here. Let me just see. I just want to ask, I should just check out if there's any questions. So I missed events. Let's see. Is there a video clip option? Okay, a couple questions here I want to address, and if anybody has any more questions, I'll ask here. So, is there a video clip option? So, so we don't actually have a way to like upload and host your videos, but what you would do is like you would upload that to YouTube or anywhere else that you grab a video from, and just put the link inside anywhere. So if you paste the link of the YouTube, video inside the group feed as an example, it'll show up there and be sent out to all the parents. And were there some questions about events that I could answer? Because Heather is saying there was some questions there. I think when I lost connection and refreshed, I might have lost those questions. So I apologize if I lost any questions that people asked. Yeah, is there a way to let teachers publish their own events and not have to have admin approve the events? Yeah, Jessica, yes, there is. So the question is there a way to let teachers publish their own events and not have to have admin approve them? Yeah, so actually, as long as the teacher is set to the role teacher and they're going into their group calendar from their group, and they create an event and they select the group that they are an admin of, it gets posted. They don't have to, nothing has to be approved. Can you put events into post at a later date? No, there's no setting currently to allow events to be posted or to send a notification out at a later date. As soon as you create it, it gets added to the calendar, and then obviously it just shows up in the calendar scheduled on that date. But the way to you might want to do that is if you have an event and you want to send out a notification about it on a particular day, is you could create the event and you could copy a link. So the event will have a page, so you copy the link of that event page and you can put it into a newsletter that is scheduled to go out later. It's a couple of steps, but if there is a particular instance where it's really important that parents only get notified about this event on a specific day, you could schedule that newsletter to go. Newsletter could talk all about that event and have a link to it. Yeah. So, and Jessica, you're saying on your site is making me approve the teacher's event. So I think we just have to go in there and look at the permission settings. So there are options. By default, it's not set up that way, but we can just go in there real quickly and make sure that that your permissions are set up correctly, so your teachers don't have to approve them. So certainly set that up. If you want to schedule something, take care of that, or just send us help@hubley.com, an email there, um, requesting that to be changed. We can do that for you. Um, and are there any other questions about the the forms or the newsletters or anything about how teachers might use them? One thing I actually oh, let's just see here. Is there a way to have the school calendar also on the class calendar? Um, it can get confusing to have parents look at several calendars, especially if they have several children. So yeah, Heather, that's a great point. So the way it works is so that the parents don't actually have to go to each group to see what's going on. So let's talk about that. It's a great point. So if a parent logs in and goes to the school calendar, they will only see events from their groups. Like, so the groups that their children are in, those are only, so sorry, any group that they are a member of, which is generally, for the most part, um, just in the groups that are in the context of their child's enrollment. So there might be an all school group or just events. So the idea is that this makes it really easy for the parents to only see, um, events that pertain to them. So if you have events in other groups that the parents aren't a member of, they're not going to see them in here. So the main calendar here, the main school calendar, is the best place for parents to go and just see everything that they need to know about in regards to the calendar. So they don't actually have to jump from group to group. They can use the main school calendar. They can also synchronize their personal calendar. If here they can subscribe to the iCal feed or their Google Calendar of the main school calendar, and then that'll actually put those events right into their on their iPhone or their Android device or their Outlook, or their whatever calendar app they're using, Google Calendar, so that it'll update automatically to changes too. So the parents don't even have to log in. I mean, that's one of the goals of Hubly, is to keep parents informed without them having to even log into a system. So you want it to obviously filter out anything they don't need to see and only push things to them that are relevant. I actually there was a great idea I had when I was out of school recently. There was a teacher asking about lesson plans, like, so she likes to, a lot of times, depending on the age of the class type, teachers are making a lot of lesson plans either for the class or for individual children. So one thing that uh, so that's a great sort of use case for the forms. So a teacher could be using the form as a lesson plan. Let me just see here if I could. Yeah, lesson planning form. So you can make. We've got a couple of couple of uh, a couple of forms that we've created on the go here on the same type. So here's a lesson planning form. So you could, if you're making lessons for a specific student, you could either it could just be for yourself, for the teacher, where it's just like, personal note keeping for the teacher, or you could actually be creating lesson plans and sharing it for the child, and sharing it with the parents on the student page. So if you're to select a lesson plan for Leo or Landon, date for the lesson will be well past, but you change that to Monday, and then you leave your notes, lesson notes here, and this has been made as a very, very simple form, but you could add anything you want. There could be drop downs, and you could have file uploads, you could take pictures or anything like that, and you this, and this could actually, again, this could be sent over to the sorry, that default confirmation should be changed, but the that'll now go to Leora's page. So again, if the teacher wants to organize lesson plans by student, a lot of times that is the case, then you can always, go into that student's page and see any lesson plans that have been submitted by you as a teacher for that student. So I'll go down to lesson plans. So here are the different lesson plans that have been created for Leora. Again, the parents could access this if you want them to be able to. They can print this off. The teacher can come in here and update this lesson plan, you know. So as an example, like, so maybe not that, we're going to change it to this, and then update it. And then the parent can even get a notification sent to them upon an update if you want. All this stuff is really configurable. The defaults, take care of usually 95% of the scenario, but this is, these features are meant to be able to sort of address any type of, like, specific use case that teachers and parents need, and that's important because a lot of times, again, 95% of the time, everything works the same way, but there's always certain scenarios where parents want to be informed or don't want to be informed, or there's a particular child that has certain needs that need to be dealt with a little bit differently. So we can, we can go into any one of these types of forms and configure the notifications and the permissions and all that stuff very, very granularly, right down to the specific user. You guys are not seeing my screen there. Oh, okay, awesome. Well, let me do that all over again. Okay, so this will be real quick. So basically, you've got forms. Here's a lesson planning form. So if I go to that form here, I'm going to fill out a lesson plan for Leora. I'm the teacher, and I'm filling out a lesson plan for Leora. I'm going to give a date for this if you need to, and I'm going to fill out the details. Again, like as I said, you could add in many different types of fields. We're just keeping this really simple, but there could be a file upload and anything like that. So and by the way, so if you wanted to, as a teacher, if you wanted to do class lesson planning, the group docs would be the smartest place for that. That would be ideal for that. But if you want to do per child or child-specific lesson planning, this is the best way to do that. So a lesson planning form where you select the child, put in the details of the lesson, hit submit. Now, as a teacher, if I go back to the forms page and I go under lesson planning, right, I can go over to view the entries just on the form and see all the entries of all my students. So I don't actually have to go in to each student page. You can always see all the entries you've made of any particular form by just going to the main forms page, going over to view entries. If you click on that, that'll take you to the entries of that form, not, so again, so it's we've got Harry Potter in here and Marty McFly, and we've got Leora Landon. So as a teacher, these are all my entries, and I'm only seeing my entries as a teacher. Okay, but and I can even do a search by Marty if I wanted to see all the entries just for Marty. So here are all my student specific lesson plans that I've ever entered. Right here, I can sort. I can click on any of these columns to sort. I can search for a particular student. If I want to sort by entry date, so like first to last or most recent, or by the student, and then of course I can go in here and edit any of these, the same features. But if I want to go and see, just if I want to go to the student page and see what I've done just for Leora, I can also do that here. I can go to the students page. So here I am on Leora's students page, and I've entered a lesson. This is the lesson plan I just entered. Here's the first one I did that you guys weren't seeing. Here's the next one I did. So again, I can preview the parent can preview the entry, print it off if they want. As a teacher, you can go in and update the entry, make any changes you need. I'm going to add a couple more notes here. oh, yeah, I forgot this and I forgot that. Okay, now that's updated, and so now that's recorded, and everyone that needs to see it can see it. And it's really easy for me to organize my lessons plans by child now, and to see all of my different records that I've done in that regard. So I was going to ask any other questions here. So where are you entering the students? Where are you entering the students? So on the, so Kristen, I'm not sure what you mean by where you're entering the students. Do you mean when you're filling out the form? Oh, Kristen, so you, on your dashboard, if you're at the essentials, I do apologize, I should have specified this. The essentials package doesn't have the students feature. It's just communications by group class. Although yeah, so lesson planning at that point would only be done in this particular example. Lesson planning would only be done by I mean, Kristen, I'm assuming you're on the essentials feature, which is why you don't have the students, because that's a higher package. But the the lesson planning can be done by per class with the with the group docs feature. That's a really great way of using that feature for the class-wide lesson planning. And again, that can be set just to be shared just with the teacher, so that only they can access it. Or those documents can be shared with all the members of that group, so the parents can be informed and see what lessons are happening, what's coming, what's happened in the past. So yeah, that's on I would say sorry for all the technical issues we're having on this one. Been weird internet stuff going on around here. Um, but I think we've covered the kind of mainly the types of, certainly the features, and some scenarios that teachers use with those features. So just to recap, generally speaking, it's all about group communication, whether it's posting updates, posting pictures, posting events in the group, sending newsletters in the group just to the parents that are specific to those classes or rooms, and also filling out forms. So filling out forms, and if you do have the if you're on any package above the essentials, you have the ability to fill out forms for students to show up on the student pages, and send that documentation to the parents, and organize it by parent, and or sorry, organize it by student, and that's those are that's generally speaking where is that's where, um, as far as like site management and feature usage, that's as far as teachers generally go. Of course, some schools have particular teachers that are also part of the administration, and then we'll leave they'll have access to the admin dashboard, or certain parts of the admin dashboard. You can actually specify per user even, certain things in the administrative dashboard on your Hubly site that any particular user can have access to. So let's say you have a teacher that's kind of like a lead teacher, or just even a parent volunteer that does a lot of the kind of office assistant work. Like, you can give that particular user access into the form section, or into the newsletters, or the groups management in the dashboard. So having specific admin access. But generally speaking, teachers aren't going into the dashboard. Usually there's no need for them to do that, and everything's happening on the front end within the groups and the forums. And so if there are any other questions, certainly feel free to send us an email at help@hubly.com, and hope this. We're going to do, again, we're doing this every Friday, a different topic every Friday, and we certainly to see you guys next week. We'll let you know what the topic is going to be. You can always you can email us any topic ideas for this webcast, and we're always trying to try to find out what's the most popular sort of topic of coaching or lessons for our customers on a weekly basis, and we'll try to gear it towards what seems to be, if there's something that we're seeing repetitively, we'll focus on that. And if not, we'll just take the first come first serve basis. Whichever came first, we'll shoot on that one. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, I'm sorry for the tech issues we've had here with the internet, but looks like we got through it, and we'll see you next week. See you guys.